modesty, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
مرحبا واهلا وسهلا فيكم بحلقه جديده من بودكاست الارسال، حلقه خاصه مع المدرب البريطاني مارك تينانت اللي التقيت معه بفيلنوس كمان مره. راح اعمل معه مقابله مطوله، راح نحكي عن كثير شغلات. المقابله راح تكون بالانجليزي، بدي احاول ترجمها للعربي، بتمنى تعجبكم. Good evening, Mr. Mark.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for coming and be with me again on my podcast. Where are you now? What are you doing?
First of all, it's my pleasure to be with you. So thank you for inviting me. I'm speaking to you from England. My home is near Oxford. It's about 1.5 hours from London. I just got back yesterday from the National Coaches Conference in Croatia, where I was there for the weekend. But now I'm at home. So everything is fine.
You were in Egypt, no?
I was in Egypt as well 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Yes.
Okay, great. Can you just tell us about your travel there?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been going to Egypt for a long time. So the business that I own and that I work for is called Coach Central International, and we have an exclusive partnership with with Wadi Degla. Many of your listeners will know Wadi Degla. It's a huge company in Egypt, and they are involved in many things. They have a professional football team. They're involved in a lot of sports, including tennis in their clubs. And so I'm leading a project to train all the coaches who work in Wadi Degla in the 10 and under program. We just finished the first 3-year contract, and alhamdulillah, we just renewed now the contract to start again for another 3 years in January. So we're in an exciting phase. We've done a lot of good work with them and the coaches and the head coaches and the management team of Wadi Degla. Everybody has worked very, very hard. And but we're not finished, so we have another 3 years. And the plan when we started, when I met with the management at Wadi Degla to discuss all of this, and I said to them, look, what do you want? What's your goal? And they said, Mr. Mark, for us it's very simple. We want the best 10 and under program in Africa. So I said, okay, no problem. That's a good target. But I said, why Africa? Why only Africa? Why don't we try to be as good or aim for some of the 10 and under programs in Europe? And they said, okay, we like that. And I said, you have a very long way to go to be the same level. But with respect to other African countries, there is not that much to challenge you to be the best in Africa. It doesn't have the same meaning. It's a good thing, but it's not as good as being measuring against the European countries. So our goal is to try to learn as much from what is going on around the world in terms of coaches education and the way we are developing juniors. And a lot of the good and the best examples are coming from Europe. So this is now our goal, to try to be the best in Africa, but to be better than that, and to try to compare ourselves against what's happening in Europe. So inshallah, we'll get there with a lot of hard work over the next 3 years. So I go back again now in March next year.
Good. You seem look good. You are going to organize, or you are organizing something special. And sorry, for me, of course, for many Arabic countries, there's no programs, not under 10, not under 20, nothing about tennis. So it's good that they choose you, and you're going to, I believe, good programs.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic for us. It's a really good partnership, and the Egyptian coaches are so enthusiastic. But we're also doing a lot of work in other places. We have some good partnerships, for example, in Tunisia. We did some things in the past in Morocco, also in UAE, in Dubai, Abu Dhabi. In Saudi Arabia, and we had a work contract project in Qatar some years ago as well. So we are very familiar with the Arab countries and the Middle East and the Gulf region. We're very familiar with that region, and it's great to be involved in something which is helping to inspire the next generation of Arabic kids to play tennis.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you for that. And let me ask you about your tennis career, or when you start to coach, and when you start involved more and more in tennis?
Sure. So, well, it's quite a long story, so maybe I'll give you the short version. So I was born in London. I played tennis at some clubs near me in London, and I played okay. I was a junior national standard player in the younger age groups to under 14. And even in those days, I felt that I wanted to do something a little bit different in tennis, and I started working in my club in some of the holiday camps, and they paid me. And I soon realized that actually I could make more money from coaching than by playing tennis. So I became more interested in coaching. And so I did my level 1 when I was very young. And then I went to university in England and continued to coach in university. And then I got some coaching positions near where I was at university in England, and went from one club to another, and bigger clubs and bigger clubs and bigger clubs. And then eventually, a few years later, became the manager at a big indoor tennis center in the west of England. From there, then I moved to work in the coaches education department in the LTA, which is in London.
All that in which age was all these things?
So I'm going very fast through everything. I started working in the big indoor tennis center when I was about 22, 23. And then when I was about 27, I think it was, I moved then to London to work at the LTA in London. Then after that, about 4 or 5 years later, I left the LTA to go to work for the International Tennis Federation. So I worked at the ITF in London. And this is where I became involved with a gentleman called Dave Miley. A lot of your listeners who are involved in tennis will know Dave Miley. He was the executive director of tennis at the International Tennis Federation in London. And so we started working on this project called Tennis Play and Stay, which was to try to look at the way in which tennis is introduced to beginners, to juniors, and to adults all over the world, with the use of slower balls and smaller courts and shorter rackets. And so I was working with the ITF, and I started traveling all over the world, doing coaches education. And then after about 4 or 5 years, I left the ITF to set up the business that we now have. And so here we are today, still running the same business. It's a very different business now to the way we started 18 years ago, but we are still running the same business that we started 18 years ago. So that's kind of my a very fast version of my journey into tennis and to where I am today.
so long journey. So it's not easy to say what you just told me, but it looks really long way. But I see you did as well as everyone wanted to.
Well, to me, I have a very simple philosophy about things. First of all, if you want to achieve things, you have to work hard. And alhamdulillah, because of my parents, I have a good work ethic. I work hard. I'm not the most talented in anything, I know that. And but I think if you don't have talent, if you work hard, you can also achieve things. And I would say the same maybe to the parents of young tennis players who are listening to this, that even if they are not the most talented, it doesn't matter. Work hard is also very important. Of course, if you have talent and you can work hard at the same time, it's even better. But also I believe that if you spend time with the right people, with good people, intelligent people, ambitious people, people who are respectable, who are professional, who are good professional people, then you can achieve many things. And I have this very simple view that if you want to be a good person, spend time with good people. If you want to be a fool, spend time with fools. It's a very simple equation for me.
Very simple. So let's go to tennis court, and I have simple questions.
Sure.
Which skills you think is the most important in tennis?
You mean for juniors, or do you mean
For
as a
juniors,
professional? Okay. Well, actually, I think the first thing is you have to love the sport. You have to love tennis. Okay. You have to love practice. You have to love training. You have to love matches and competition. So you have to love your sport. And I think it's also important to love other sports, because if you only play tennis, then you will lose love of the sport. So you have to have variety and also play other sports. I believe that you have to be athletic. I believe that you have to be able to move very well, and to be a good mover on the court, I think, and to be athletic is very good and very important. I believe you have to be coordinated. I believe you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to react and adapt to all the different situations which are happening in the match. Of course, you have to be good from a technical point of view, but actually I don't think that's the most important thing. And again, maybe some parents listening to this maybe are surprised, but I don't believe you have to be the best in technique to be a good tennis player. You have to have a big heart. I think you have to love what you do. You have to work hard. And I think if you are well coordinated, and if you move well, and if you can be adaptable, physically adaptable, then I think you can achieve good things. Of course, technique is important. And of course, you have to be able to work also on the physical and the mental and the tactical aspects of your game too.
You know, the main problem, let's say, when I coach juniors, they want everything so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So you said many things. You need to love the sport. You need to have coordination and many things. But I just face many children and young players that they didn't even want to make 15 or 20 rallies. You know, they just want to play points. They just want to do something. Like they just go to social media. Tick, 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 tick. They want everything fast. So I see. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm trying in the last 3-4 months just to make them be patient and like to make rallies, and maybe to have 10, maybe 15 minutes just to hit forehand and backhand. It's really tough for them.
Yeah, I think the world has changed, Basil. I think when I was a kid, and maybe when you are younger than me, but when you were a kid, maybe there was more time, there was less distraction. We didn't have mobile phones. We didn't have even the idea that, we are in a world now where we want everything immediately. I want to buy something, I go on Amazon, it comes tomorrow. I want some food, I go to Deliveroo or some delivery, it comes immediately. And we are in a different world now where people are less patient. They don't want to work so hard. They don't have, as you said, they don't have the patience to practice. They also maybe are less resilient. So when they are losing, they find it hard to accept losing. And they don't see the longer term journey and the long-term development, which is important. And I would say that, Basil, not just about the kids, but also about the parents.
Yeah, of course.
You said a moment ago, and I agree with you, that the kids are not patient and they want everything immediately. I think the parents are the same. The parents are less patient, and the parents want everything for their kids very fast too. And we have to be patient.
And they didn't accept the lose. Last week I was in a tournament. The other parents of the opponent of my player, they just left the court because their son didn't listen to them. So it was really strange for me. It's
but it's really true when people say that you learn more by losing and you learn more in defeat than in victory. When you win, okay, we all celebrate and we go, yeah, fantastic, and then we move on. But when we lose, if we are smart, we learn some things about what we should do next time, what we could do better. Even when you are losing, there are things you do well. Okay, just because you are losing doesn't mean that everything is a disaster. It just means that you lost the match. You didn't lose your life. Nobody died. You just lost the match, or you lost the tournament. And tennis is a very difficult sport in this way, because, again, the kids and parents have to understand that you can win more points than your opponent and you can still lose the match.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have, let's say you have, 32 players in the draw in your tournament, 31 of them are going to be losers.
Yes.
Only one of them can win the tournament. So does it mean that there are 31 bad people out there? No. It just means that one was a little bit better in this week or this tournament and they won the match. But the other 31, if they are smart, they should take a lot of lessons and they should learn what I should improve, what I should do better, what I should do differently, and to go back to the practice court and discuss with the coach what we can do differently, and then to go to the next tournament and try again.
Yeah. You know, we already talked about that. It's better to children not to play only tennis and to go to other sports. I have a question about in which age you think the young players, or let's say the children, must concentrate or go only with tennis, because you know, at maybe 11, 12, 13, I don't know, it's different because of the biological growth of every child, but in which is average you think it's better to go there?
I think it's a big question, a good question, and I'm happy you asked this. The first thing I would say is that even professional tennis players do some other sports, not to compete, but because it adds some variety and some fun to their training. So the first thing I would say is, if it's okay for Yannick Sinner, or if it's okay for Sabalenka to do some other sports as part of their training, if it's good for them, it should be good for our kids. I would say that below the age of 10, even the age of 12, the kids must never only be playing one sport. They should be doing a lot of sports. Now, of course, they can have their favorite sport, and inshallah, tennis will be their favorite sport. So maybe 50% of the sport they are doing is tennis, and then the other 50% maybe is a mix of some football, some gymnastics, some basketball, some swimming, because things have to be fun. Have to be fun. There are some sports which are individual sports, like tennis, but there are other sports where we play with our friends and we are in a team. So this is important. We also can learn a lot of skills by playing other sports. So if you think, for example, about basketball, you think about the movement and the coordination which is involved in basketball, and the spatial awareness and the throwing and catching and the tactics which are involved. Those are good for tennis. If we think about gymnastics, it's very good for coordination. It's good for core strength. It's good for balance. It's good for agility. So all these other sports are very important. And, you know, when people ask me about this, I have this funny story that I like to give. I call it the pizza syndrome. Is it okay if I talk about it for a moment?
Yeah, really.
I call it the pizza syndrome. So if I ask you, Basil, what is your favorite dinner? And you say to me, oh, I love pizza. And I say, okay, so you're going to have pizza for breakfast, you're going to have pizza for lunch, you're going to have pizza for dinner, 7 days every week, okay? And after 1 or 2 days, you're going to say, Mark, enough pizza. I want something else. It's too much pizza. And it's the same with kids with tennis. If they do tennis every single day, by the time they are 12, 14, 16, most of them will be gone from tennis. So actually, it's important that they have the variety to keep themselves mentally fresh, physically fresh, to keep their enthusiasm, but also to give them a better physical development and a better level of coordination and core strength and all the different body awareness and all the different physical and mental skills which come from playing other sports. So maybe it's useful for your listeners to think about the pizza syndrome. And I think it's very dangerous if we try to push kids into only doing tennis and specializing in tennis at a young age.
Yeah, you said really, really good. You know, under 10, let's say, I'm trying to involve everything about coordination, agility. It doesn't matter in which level, all the group of children. I must give them something different. Sometimes I give them to play football, just to go to play football, you know, and or to basketball.
Absolutely.
Because maybe their parents didn't have many or time or maybe money to take them there. So I try
absolutely. And you know, there is a reason why we when you speak to the kids and you say to them, okay, what are you going to do after school? What do they say? They don't say, I'm going to learn tennis. They say, I'm going to play tennis. Play. Kids learn by playing.
Yes.
I know that you are a coach, I'm a coach. We think we are very important, but the kids don't learn most of the things through us. They don't. You're a good coach, I'm sure. I'm a good coach. I try to be a good coach, but they don't learn from me as much as they learn by playing. And if we don't give them the chance to play all these different sports, they are missing the opportunities to learn all these different skills. And then they can take some of these skills and they can use them in the best way also on the tennis court, and not just in the basketball court or the swimming pool or the gymnasium. So it's very important that the parents and the kids and the coaches understand the importance of play and playing tennis. That's why most kids are learning. I don't know how you started playing tennis. I started playing tennis hitting a ball up against a wall. That's how I learned. I didn't have coaching until I was 11 years old.
Mhm.
Maybe you were the same. I don't know.
Yeah, I have my twin, so we play together.
Okay, but you
Yeah,
played,
it
right? You
yes,
didn't
it was
learn,
not.
you played.
Yeah, it was not easy. You
Mm.
know, I just think about my 1 hour training session. I'm just looking to end the session every time in a good gameplay, and just want the children to live with a smile and don't care about the tennis, you know. But you said really correct. They just learn from playing, not from
Yes,
me as a
yes.
coach.
And our job is to encourage them to play and to get help them to love the sport.
Mm.
But our job as the coach is to help them to play better. It's not for us to replace the play. They should play first, and then our job as the coach is to help them to play a little bit better. Maybe you could try this. Maybe you try this. Maybe on the forehand you should try this. Did you think about trying this? This is our job as the coach, is to help them to play better. And I think it's very important.
Yeah, because they maybe they know 5% what we know about things. They need
sure.
us just to let them know about, or to show them the
Yep.
exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you about the serve.
Okay.
You involve it from the beginning of the training, maybe children 5, 6, 7 years old. From this ages, you involve the serve, maybe by a game, not really to serve, but
Basil, you're talking about one of my favorite subjects. Okay, I lost count how many interviews, videos, education sessions, podcasts I did talking about the serve. I've done so many videos and information and things about the serve because I believe it's so important. So I'm very pleased that you're asking about the serve. I believe that we have to start to develop the serve, and the kids have to learn how to use the serve from a very young age. I think it's very important. And if I know most coaches know that the serve is probably the most important shot in the game. Okay,
and the most difficult to learn.
and in some ways the most difficult. But how much time do we spend in a typical lesson working on the serve? Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So is it really this important if we are doing 5 or 10 minutes?
No.
What are we doing the other 50 minutes of the 1 hour lesson, right? So if the serve is so important, then we need to do more serving.
Yes.
We need to do serving in the beginning, in the middle, at the end of the lesson. And we need to give them the skills to be able to serve from a young age so that it becomes a way that they can start the game, but also then to be able to serve better so they can start to create an advantage when they are serving.
Yeah. You know, it's really tough to say it, but many children just at age of 12, they don't know what to do with the serve.
Yeah.
It's the biomechanic of it, what to do with the legs, with the arms. So
Sure. Yeah, and when you watch, you were talking about competition and kids playing matches. When you watch the kids playing the matches and you compare the serve with the forehand, which is the best shot, the serve or the forehand? It's the forehand every time.
Yeah.
Okay, the ground strokes are better than the serve. Why? Because most of the time they're hitting 70% forehands, maybe 30% backhands, and for 50 minutes of the lesson they are doing forehands and backhands, and then for 10 minutes they are doing serving. So it's a very simple equation to me.
Yes.
If you want to be better in serving, you have to do more serving.
Yeah, good. You say it really good, and I will take it to my coaching training now. So maybe a couple 2 questions. We talked about so many things. Let's talk about the tennis today. What you think about the men's and the women's? I see that in the women's we have more players. It's more difficult to win something because there's really good competition. But in the men's, we have one level, Sinkaraz, and the other tour.
Yeah, I mean the level of professional tennis in the men's and the women's game these days is unbelievable, and it's getting better every year, all the time. So the standards are incredibly high, even compared to, let's say, 5 years ago when we had Djokovic and Nadal and Federer, and all three of them were at the top, and they were always fighting against each other. But now, for example, if you look at Alcaraz and Sinner, I mean, they are. I mean, you know, okay, we have Zverev, and we still have Djokovic, and then we have guys like Auger Aliassime and Fritz and all these guys. Of course, they can all win big tournaments, and they can win the tournament one week, and sometimes they will win the important matches in the Grand Slams. But Sinner and Alcaraz, I think, are ahead of the others, and almost, I wouldn't say exactly in a league of their own, but there is a big gap, I think, between them and the rest.
Mentally, you think mentally more than?
I think in every way. I mean, they are so consistent. Those two are so consistent. If you think about Zverev, who's number 3 in the world, right? He's still okay. He's clearly an unbelievable player, but he's not that consistent.
Yeah.
If you look at the others, you know, Djokovic is on the way down. I think it's fair to say he's not the same as he was 5-8 years ago, for sure. The level of consistency of Sinner and Alcaraz between them is incredible. Now, in the women's game, I think it's a little bit more even.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, I mean, Sabalenka is still at the top, but Iga Swiatek is there, Coco Gauff is there. So, you know, you look at the Grand Slam winners in the women's. Okay, it's we had. It was Madison Keys who won the Australian Open this year, 2025. Then we had Coco Gauff. Then we had Swiatek at Wimbledon, and then we had Sabalenka in the US Open. So we have 4 different winners. Okay, so it shows a little bit that there is more equality maybe in the women's game compared to the men's game. The men are dominated by Alcaraz and Sinner.
Mm-hmm. You know, you mentioned Gauff and Swiatek. 2 days ago, I record the recap of the WTA season.
Yeah.
And till now, I can't believe that Swiatek won Wimbledon before Sabalenka. For me, it's not logical. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how does it happen, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, everybody has their moment, you know, and I think what you're saying is evidence that actually in the women's game things are a little bit more even. And okay, in the men's, any week anybody can beat anybody in the top 10 for sure, and even in the top 50, anybody in the top 50 could beat somebody in the top 10, no problem. But there is, I think, little bit more evenness in the top 10 in the women compared to in the men at the moment, because of the dominance of the top 2. If you go from number 3 to number 8, all the way down to Jack Draper, who's making comeback after injury, from number 3 to number 10 in the men's, I think it's more even.
Yeah.
But Sinner, Alcaraz, I think or Alcaraz number 1, Sinner number 2 are a little bit above the rest, and their level of consistency is incredible.
Okay, let's maybe recap what we talk about. Intense today, you know, many just maybe watch only the Grand Slam, and for 2 weeks at Wimbledon, and after that they didn't even turn on the television for another tournament. And we see and we read many people wrote about Alcaraz Sinner, or Sabalenka, or Swiatek, or Gauff. You know, the tennis, let's say the tennis fans today, it is better or worse than maybe 10 or 20 years ago?
I think tennis is in an exciting place now for the fans. I think social media has a lot to do with this. So in a way, the fans can get closer to their heroes and their heroines. So they can, there are some unbelievable documentaries, for example, behind the scenes, and seeing a day in the life of the tennis players, or seeing some of the interviews, or seeing them in training, which we didn't have 10, 15 years ago. Right. So I think understanding a little bit more about what it means to be a top tennis player these days, I think it's been a good thing for the fans. And if you think, for example, about the Netflix documentaries, the series a few years ago, I think it's an interesting way now for the fans to see a little bit more how it is in the life of a tennis player. So I think that's a good thing. I think tennis is in a good place. It has its challenges for sure. But I think for the fans, it's an exciting sport. I think there are rivalries. It's interesting now how there are so many different players from different countries, big countries and small countries, that are coming. We're seeing, for example, she's, if we think back a few years ago to the impact that Ons Jabeur had on not just on tennis, but on sport and culture and girls and women in not just in Tunisia, but in Arabic-speaking countries. I think there are a lot of real ambassadors for the sport in a fantastic way, and so I think there are a lot of things to be positive about with tennis.
I do agree with you. The tennis for now is in a good place, and I think the Roland Garros final and everything what happened with the comeback of Alcaraz made the tennis really great again, because we need something like that to make people from other sports to come and watch.
Absolutely. And then if you think about, we have every year there is some new players coming through. So Joao Fonseca, for example, I saw him in Saudi Arabia last year in the
next gen.
In the next gen. It was great to see him. You think about Mira Andreeva, who's coming through now. I think she's number 9 in the world already, and so there are these players coming through every year, every season, which is keeping things fresh and making things interesting as well. So I don't think it's a bad thing that we have the rivalry between Sinner and Alcaraz, but it won't last forever. And there will be new kids on the block coming through, as well as some of the let's say older players also will still be there too. So it's exciting, I think.
Last question for today. As a coach, do you think we must change something in tennis? Lastly, we saw Piquet talking about one serve, or 40 all, only 1 point, or maybe something different in the system of the game. Do you think we need to change?
I think I'm a traditionalist.
Okay.
I'm a traditionalist. I think we should leave the sport as it is. I'm not a fan of coaching on court. I think it works in Davis Cup, Fed Cup, or Billie Jean King Cup in team competition. I'm not a fan of coaching on court, really. I think this is part of what the players should train for, is to train to be on their own and make decisions on their own, and not to have the coach making a decision or telling them what to do. I think we should leave the sport alone. I think if there are some changes to make, then I think we have to look at the allocation of the prize money and how much of the prize money is going to the top players. And when you're going to, let's say, below top 100, let's say 250, 500, 750 in the world, life is tough for them. Life is unbelievably tough for them, and we have this inverted pyramid where so much of the money is going to the top guys. I mean, those top guys are making multi-millions in prize money and endorsements every year, and you don't have to go this much down the pyramid into the 200s, 300s, 400s, and they are not making anywhere near as much money. And I think that reallocation of prize money is something which should be looked at. I don't think it's just a tennis problem. It happens in another sport, like in golf, for example, the same. But I think that's something we have to look at. But in terms of the rules of the game, I think it's nice to see events like Next Gen, and the players are coming out with flashing lights and music, and the fireworks and the smoke, and all those things to make it feel a little bit more sexy, let's say. But the rules of the game, I'm a fan of the traditional rules, and I think we should leave it alone, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the tennis is special because of the system of the game.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Mark, thank you so much. It was really 30 plus minutes. Really great to talk with you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I wish you and everybody listening all the very best.
Thank you, Mr. Mark, again, and hope to meet you again.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Bye bye.
I love you guys. Thank you so much for support. Everything you have done tonight for me. I love you.